Like if a man is paying for a first date.
What does okay, yeah.
You know, that is showing her, if she is waiting, she wants a man that's going to be able to provide, okay, little things that are shown there.
Okay, so men are typically expected to make the first move, approach, initiate, set up the date, plan the date, handle the logistics, pay for the date, go for the first kiss, move things forward from there. Physically,
that's a masculine man, someone who's firm in themselves,
leading,
pursuing.
being dominant, masculine. Mm-hmm. So that's what's expected very early and upfront from the man. So if that's kind of what men are expected to do, then what are women expected to do early on in the courtship process?
I would say respect them, show them feminine intentions, and just be a feminine woman. You know, loyalty if you are exclusive talking to that person.
Can you give me examples of that?
Like if a man is putting in this much effort to go and see you, you know, you're going to do your hair, you're going to look nice, you're going to give him attention, you're going to allow him to be a masculine man. You know, if he's opening up your door for you, if he's going to offering to pick you up, you know, so there's little things we can do,
Brian,
like coffee or something.
You being a man,
but
do you care about any of those things?
What things?
The things that she just mentioned.
Like if you want a feminine woman, and I'll use the word like biblically, right? You know, in marriage, a woman will submit to her husband's authority because her husband is submitting to Christ and is leading the household. So you're trusting that they are going to lead you in the future. Mm-hmm. So as a woman, when you're going on a date, you know, it's not an interview. You're just getting to know that person, and you are appreciative and thankful for them, you know, being the leader and showing that masculine energy. And you there are being feminine and showing your feminine qualities, because it is an equal balanced unit that will become one in the future.
It just feels like a bamboozle. Oh, okay, you previously slept with your past 10 sexual partners.
But you're not going to take every girl out on a first date, you know? Like if you intentionally are looking to date someone, you'll take them on a date.
I think it's better to wait for a man as well. Like then you can like have a more intense bond with her anyway, or else it's better for you guys, I think, as well. That would be more.
I understand what you're saying though. Like yes, if a woman is
It's a raw deal. It's a raw deal. I think it's a raw deal. Oh, okay. A month ago, you just had a one-night stand. You were on some fucking cruise or traveling.
A month ago to a first date, understandable. But if you're talking like a woman who is like, you know what, I have committed my life.
You've been celibate for 3 years. Maybe you get a bit of a pass. If you've been celibate for 3 years and then you want to wait, fine. But don't pull this game of like, oh, I want to wait 3 months, but then you fucked a guy last week. That's the issue I have with it. Is being consistent in your values.
I understand that.
I don't know. Andrew, you got anything for this?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind engaging a bit on this topic with you. Not you, Brian. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Actually, he has a point. So to speak to his actual point with no deflection at all, what would the TPUSA position on this actually be? Would the TPUSA position on this be that if a guy does end up dating a chick who was very promiscuous just a month before, and she has suddenly turned to Christ in her 30s, of course, that he should date her, that he should wait? I mean, what is the prescription here, do you think?
Well,
if you're going to be charitable to Brian's view.
No, I actually agree with Brian when it comes to if somebody had been promiscuous for months prior and then all of a sudden has decided, okay, you know, today's the day I'm going to go on a date and I'm going to save myself. I think there's a lot more work that goes into that than just 1 week of hooking up with someone and then all of a sudden the week later you want to go on a date and be with someone. Like there's a lot of steps that we're missing here. So of course, if a woman has slept with, 10 men or however many and then is now going on a first date a week later or a month later, I do think that's a little early. Personally, I do think that's a little early to be like, okay, now I want to wait. I think as a woman, you would need to honestly reevaluate yourself and not date for a little bit and figure that out.
Yeah, from the man's perspective, that should be a massive red flag, right?
Yes. Right. No.
Like you would say,
you're valid.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. No. It's a red flag.
I don't even understand what your argument with Brian is about then, because that's what he's saying. That's literally all the guy is saying is, how is this not a red flag that you decided, oh, look, I finally found Jesus, right? As you tend to see many of the porn stars, even who come through this show, who suddenly find Jesus. They continue to do porn, interestingly enough, but they claim that they did anyway. Are we supposed to give or excuse their past 100 sex partners just because now they have and claim that they found salvation?
No, that
Or
100%
would you
is a
consider that a
factor.
massive red flag?
No, it's a 100% a red flag. 100%, because it's a lack of judgment, and I do believe that Jesus Christ does save us for our sins, but I don't think it's going to be an overnight switch of one day you're like the day you become saved, the next day all of a sudden clean slate. Well, it is a clean slate, but it's not like the next day you're going to jump into a relationship. I mean, this is a years and years long process. So if somebody has decided to save themselves, like let's say 5 years later, and then you become into a monogamous relationship, let's say you're an ex-porn star, whatever it is. But no, I'm not disagreeing with Brian if looking at the timelines of a 1 week to a month. Like, no, that's very reasonable. And
Well, then I guess you're going to have to look at Brian and say, Brian, you were right.
You're right.
Yeah.
I'll give you 2 years. If a woman has waited 2 to 3 years and has not engaged and has truly dedicated her life to her new self, then different scenario. But I will give you you're right with the red flag. I was agreeing with that.
Is that a checkmate? Checkmate? No.
Checkmate.
Well, statistically, I guess.
Statistically,
No,
what are the
not
statistics
okay.
on this? But go ahead.
Well, statistically, if you're looking at like her history of like past hookups and
Yeah.
dating, and then she claims she seeks salvation, it's something to like. I feel like something to look into, but at the same time, according to like if we're getting into religious purposes, like we cannot cast stones at the person. Like let the.
Would you date a guy who's shorter than you?
Would I date a guy? I'm not sure actually.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $100. To skew this, as a man whore until I was 32, when I dated with intent to marry and met my wife within the first year. We had sex the first night and have not been apart since. When you know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from my own personal experience also, Grid 1. I mean, I've had a 5-year relationship, 2-year relationship. I've had other long-term, I've had a 9-month, 1-year relationship. Most of these were not like, let's go on dates for 3 months and then finally have, no, we had sex relatively quickly, second, third date. And yeah, so thank you, good one, for the anecdote. Wait, so you're saying something about,
saying
well,
how, like,
considering a woman's past promiscuity is casting stones,
No,
and you're not
casting
allowed.
stones. I'm saying it's like you can take it into account, but I'm saying like let he who is blameless cast the next stone, which
What?
it's biblical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so
I'm
what's
saying
your point?
I'm saying.
Are you suggesting
that-
men should not consider women who've slept
No.
with 100 men previously as suboptimal partners?
No, I'm not saying that they can consider whoever they want, however they want. I'm saying like to judge them openly, verbally is like.
Well, they're not going to throw a stone. Can they take their stones and go home?
Yeah.
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 100%.
So then that's
Because that
all.
man's
That's
not-
all he's saying, right?
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
But that's what I'm arguing. I'm not gonna like have a laugh and be like, "Oh, you fucking slut." No, it's just to me, it's like me advising other men, don't date those kinds of women. And for me personally, I would not date that kind of woman.
And that's totally
And
fine.
fair.
That's the
That's valid.
extent.
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
the extent of my commentary.
Oh,
yeah, that's
that's
totally
100%
fine.
valid.
I don't make it a mission to go out of my way and be like, look at this particular woman who's a slut. I don't do that. Now, in my own assessment, I'm of course thinking, well, I don't think this would be a good person to date, but that's really the extent of it. I'm not going to go on the offensive and be belligerent and attack you for it, but I will advise other men, this is a suboptimal dating move, and for me personally, I wouldn't be
No,
about it.
that's
valid.
totally fair. That's totally fair.
Valid. What are you doing? What was that?
I have ADHD. I'm sorry. So I was
Oh,
a
it's all
little
good.
fidgety.
It's all good. But look, I mean, I think it's wonderful if women are choosing to move in less promiscuous ways. If you try to prioritize long-term relationships, I think that's great. But do realize, even if you do make that proactive choice to change up the way you move, that men are still going to consider perhaps your past actions and behavior, and even though you've changed, still preclude you from wanting to pursue you for a serious relationship or any kind of relationship. And in that scenario, though, I can just tell, I'm just sort of explaining the guy's perspective here of, well, because, for example, I'm not going to expose her, but we had a Christian girl come on the show, and she said multiple times that she was waiting for marriage. I think she'd been on the show twice, and then she came back on the show, and she said, well, I'm waiting till marriage to have sex. She came back on the show, and I give her credit for at least admitting this. She said, I had a slip up. I had sex with somebody. And then it would be very frustrating for me, for example, if I had been dating her in between that time, but she was like, oh, I'm gonna wait. And then I find out like a week after we break up, for example, after I dated you for 3 months, and despite, my desires to have sex, you're like, no, I respected it. And then as soon as we break up, you go and fuck another guy. I would, look, that's tough. That's your prerogative, but I'd be like, well, did you really think that? Were those really your values? And then similarly, if I was about to pursue a woman who said,
Basf's donated $100. You guys are missing the issue here. It's not about being Christian now, it's that withholding sex is a tool of manipulation. Chad gets the cheeks up front, good guy has to wait for seconds.
Oh, which I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think women should use sex as a tool for manipulation, 100%. A woman shouldn't withhold sex within marriage, personally.
Yeah, well, he's even talking before that.
But if you're going on dates...
Well, they're using it for compliance or leverage to secure a long-term relationship or to secure monogamy.
I don't think it's worth it.
What do you mean, for the guy? Or
no, either way, I don't think you should sleep together before, but...
Okay, sure. I'm trying to remember what I was saying. Oh, and just the last thing. I would also kind of feel like getting a bit of a raw deal if I just met a girl and she told me that a month ago she had a one-night stand with a guy, but now that she's met me, oh, okay, I'm waiting until marriage. I'd be like, my dude, a month ago you fucked some dude in a club. Like, that's ridiculous. Good for you, but I feel like I'm getting a raw deal here, so goodbye. Like, it's not me feeling entitled to anything. It's me like, okay, I feel like a sucker in this situation, so this isn't a fit, so.
Would there be like nothing else you were getting from the relationship?
What do you mean?
Besides that?
What do you mean?
Because normally, like, when you consider a relationship, you consider like multiple parts of it, not just the sexual end. Like, what if?
Sure. You can obviously, women offer a great deal outside of sex.
What if there was something else that you like found in her, like another quality that you liked?
She'd basically have to be a slave for me to accept this very suboptimal scenario where I'm essentially a sucker for. A month ago, because this is the scenario I gave, a month ago she had a one-night stand with some dude, and now she's telling me she wants to wait 3 months, 6 months, or until marriage to have sex. She's gonna have to basically be a slave for me. She's gotta clean my house and shit. She's gotta fucking vacuum. She's gotta do some Mr. Miyagi shit, paint the fence. Wax my car and shit.
In this suboptimal scenario, yes, I understand where you're coming from.
I also
Chores.
don't think any sane woman who wants to date you would say, oh, hey, by the way, I just got banged 2 weeks ago, but I want to wait with you. Any sane woman will not tell you that. So this is a far out hypothetical that probably will never happen.
I would hope she would be honest.
It's not about honesty. It's about, like, just, again, y'all are going to love me for this discretion, right? You don't need to know anything about what I did 2 weeks ago. You don't need to know about the date I had 2 weeks ago.
I do need to know.
Why do you need to know?
Because if I find out, let's say we get engaged and you fucking lied to me about that shit, it's fucking over. Goodbye. I don't care.
But this is
I don't care if the
so
wedding is
far
fucking
out.
planned.
Okay.
And if you should never fucking, you shouldn't lie to a guy like that. What are you doing?
She's just helping.
Wait, was there a slip? Was there a slip?
No, she's just looking out. I don't think
Okay. Was there?
I didn't
Nick?
see a nipple out, so I was just making sure.
Okay. So what?
I know. I think I'm just having fun. So I think it's a really far out hypothetical situation that no woman's going to go on a date with you and then tell you that they did something 2 weeks ago. And if she wants to wait for 3 months, then yeah, it's a shitty situation. That's your choice to pursue that or not. So.
Well, the thing is like, I assume on this first date there would be some conversation about, where our values align or don't align when it comes to the rapidity with which we would. I'm framing this in. When it comes to, do you want to have sex? Do you want to wait? Not exactly in those words. And so if on that date she says, well, I'm waiting till marriage, but in like the scenario you gave 2 weeks ago, she fucked some dude, that would be.
I'd find that interesting.
It would suck. That would be like, okay, cool. Like, that's not really in alignment with what you just told me. And then that's your choice to pursue that or not. And that's what she was saying is it takes time to kind of make those changes. And you have to also, and like that girl who said she had a slip up, it takes time to implement these changes and these choices and these habits.
So yeah, but you're, okay. So is your advice then to you ought to omit or lie to men and not reveal?
No, that's not my advice. My stance is it's so hypothetical and it's so far-fetched that like most girls won't say that.
Here's an example, right? If I'm actually interested in a girl, one of the questions I might ask her when first meeting her and screening her out is, when's the last time you've had, the phrasing might change.
So vulgar. When did you get banged last?
No, I said, when's the last time you've had sex with someone? That's a question I might ask because I want to know. You fucked a guy last week, not interested.
Yeah, and that's your choice, and that's okay.
Right, but so would you recommend a woman in that situation to lie?
No,
Okay.
She needs to say like, okay, she needs to be forthcoming. I'm not saying you need to lie. I'm just saying like most women wouldn't have that kind of switch up or would say that.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
So then wouldn't it be wiser advice then to say that if this is something which is new to you, if you've just made this switch over in your life, that you should ease off of dating for a while
I
altogether?
agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Yeah, you should wait.
If that becomes untied, is it like
No, it won't untie. It's just I got animated when I was talking to you, and she was just looking out, so.
Let's just, if you can, just be cautious of that.
I will.
Okay, so, well, why don't we